VanHack is honored and delighted to have you all amongst us. And today, we would like to talk about this session is going to be about VanHack's Frontliners, giving insights from the employer's market. We all want to know what's happening abroad in international markets. How are they hiring and why are they hiring? What are they looking for in the candidates? And today, I would like to welcome our two esteemed and distinguished speakers, Rodolfo Santos and Megan Watchorn. Rodolfo is the European Growth Manager, and Megan Watchorn is a head of growth. We welcome you all to this conference. I would like you both now to tell us a bit about yourself.
Megan, go ahead.
Megan, you start.
Hi, I'm Megan. I'm the head of growth here at VanHack, and the growth team is constantly talking to employers about tech talents. So we're having conversations day in and day out, we're going to be able to help you guys in this presentation, kind of find out some insights from the front lines. And I'm joined here today by Rodolfo Santos, our esteemed European growth manager, who has experience specifically within the European market. Rodolfo.
Hi, I am Rodolfo. I'm based in Lisbon, Portugal, and I'm at VanHack for 1 year and a half, more or less. And yeah, I've been focusing on the European market, and I will be gladly sharing some experience and some feedback on how you can improve yourself and help you find a job abroad.
Perfect. Thank you so much for joining us today. And we already know that you're going to guide everybody a lot about the market, the growth market. So my first question would be that about tell us a bit about your VanHack employers in both the European and North American market. Tell us a bit about that because we want to understand that. Starting with you, Megan.
Yeah, absolutely. So employers, whether it's in Canada, the US, and even Europe, quite often they are trying to find talent in their local talent pools, and they're struggling. They're struggling to find intermediate to senior developers. And the growth team, we're kind of looking at job boards, scanning different communities, trying to reach out to employers. Just try to get a better understanding of whether or not they'd be open to global tech talents. And that's one of the challenges, I think, from our perspective, at least initially when we first start to talk with companies. Quite often people have always been like, the province or the state or the country. But more and more, what we're seeing is companies opening up finally their eyes to international tech talent to fill roles. In terms of employer size and our ideal customers, I think that we go out and look for, quite often they're in that scale up stage. They have a head count of maybe, 10 to 200 people. We can kind of help them scale up and find tech talent outside the local talent pool. Rodolfo?
Yeah, it's a little bit aligned with what you're saying. One of the struggles that we found is that a lot of European companies do understand there is a lack of tech talent within Europe, but some of them are not yet in the point where they can hire from abroad. I noted a huge shift in 1 year, and so since I've been at VanHack, so we do see a lot of companies hiring from abroad because they do understand there is a lack of tech talent. There is huge competition within their local markets. Because if you're a small startup, you're competing against really huge brands within your local market. And at the same time, if you are a company like Megan said in hypergrowth, you need to use more resources and just go outside your comfort zone or your city or your country to find talent that matches this. Also, this is a little bit related as well with the need of diversity to add more mindsets to companies. So yeah, I would just say that the European ideal profile of a VanHack company is, as mentioned, an hypergrowth company, as well as a startup company that is struggling to find talent within their local markets.
Yes, I completely agree over here because when we talk about the VanHack, basically how it's helping people, especially in this pandemic, we observed a huge talent gap, huge. And the companies it's good to know from you guys that companies are readily employing to cover that talent gap. So that's really awesome. And yes, we have a huge market gap. My next question from both of you is, tell us a bit about the clients, because we want to understand that side as well about the clients.
Yeah, I'll get started there in terms of like the clients that we talk to. It can be all sorts of people in all sorts of positions.
Hmm.
I think it's important to talk about that. So, one of the things, quite often we're talking to founders in the
Hmm.
early days. If it's a startup organization, we're often talking to kind of founders of organizations that are looking to grow up a team. We're also talking to heads of engineering departments or heads of product. And then we're also talking, depending on the size of the organization, we're also talking to talent acquisition folks, people in HR in the organization that are kind of looking at growing the organization. So those are kind of some of the personas, I guess, that we talk to on a day in, day out basis. In terms of clients, later on in the presentation, we're going to actually show you like where these clients are sitting today, like where their headquarters are. We're expanding. We have a lot more flags than ever before. In 2021, we have new countries. And, it's definitely, when it comes to VanHack, maybe a few years ago, you would think about Vancouver, Toronto, or Montreal. Now it's a lot more broad. We're going to be able to showcase some of the European countries that we've kind of got on board, as well as some of the smaller markets, because smaller markets are definitely really where there's even more need for the demand of senior tech talent.
So you're saying that because we are trying to understand the diversity of all the employers. So you just mentioned that we have wide array of different from of employers of the clients from Europe and market and North America. We want to know who are these employers and why do they join VanHack? What exactly they see in VanHack to join?
Yeah, so I can jump in on that in regards to Europe. So as you can see, as these 5 points that Megan just clicked on the presentation. So the first one is obviously the lack of local talent, and the lack of local talent is always associated with a lack of employer brand awareness. Because if you are like Google or Microsoft, you usually don't struggle to attract local talent, but when you're just a 20 people company, you do struggle to find talent within your local market. Then I would say that the struggles that a company like Google or Microsoft or these huge companies have, it's around or revolves around the diversity needs that they need to add to their profiles. The one of the points that mentions there, the silver lining of COVID-19, is that COVID also it kind of made things faster. So companies are now much more keen on looking outside their scope or outside their market. Do you want to add anything on this one?
Yes, Megan.
Yeah, I'd like to quickly just jump in on that as well, because I think that companies learned, and because they were forced to learn how to onboard people remotely, right? Organizations before really thought it was about being in an office with foosball or beer pong or ping pong. A lot of the tech companies, for sure, here locally in Vancouver, they felt like that was the way to create team dynamics, and like huddles were literally in a huddle in a room. And now with the evolution of technology, and because organizations were forced, if they wanted to continue to hire, they had to go online. They had to create systems and processes in order to be able to get people engaged and started really from anywhere. And what's the difference if you're sitting in a desk in Lisbon or Toronto or Vancouver versus sitting, in a desk in Sao Paulo or Nigeria or India? It really doesn't matter. Other than time zones, that's the one area of concerns that people quite often have from an employer standpoint. But if people are willing to work within a certain overlap of hours, it's really irrelevant.
For sure. And one point on that is that we also still see companies that touch that point, like, hey, I need someone that works within the time zone that I'm comfortable with, or to have a 5 hours overlap. And whenever we ask, well, let's imagine that you find someone in Brazil. Let's imagine this company is based from Berlin. If you find a talent from Brazil, would you be okay if this person wakes up a little bit earlier and does the job. And we also noticed that several companies are okay with that as long as the hired person is okay with it. So right now, the world has become so small for developers that it's really, really,
Yeah.
I would say it's easier. It's not really easy to get hired abroad, but it's easier.
Yes, comparatively, it's easier and it's more, like I said, the whole world is going digitally. The digitization is happening, so everybody is connected. So now it feels more accessible to be connected to employers abroad. So yeah, that's something really awesome to know that these employers that they join. How about we get to know about the overview of the market, Megan?
Yeah, in terms of the overview of the market, like let's dive into 2021, like since the
Hmm.
beginning of this fiscal year to kind of find out where our employers are coming from. So, I was actually quite shocked when we pulled these numbers. 55% are based in Canada. It makes sense. We really kind of laid our foundation here. But if we look at the amount of growth that's happened within Europe,
Hmm.
with Rodolfo and the European team going and talking to customers, you can see that there's still, it's a very hot market for people to kind of come into. And Rodolfo will go into the countries that have kind of joined there, but we're also working a little bit in the South Pacific, so Australia, as well as in the United States. United States is remote only. Everywhere else we can do relocation, but that's something to kind of keep in mind. The U.S. visas are exceptionally complicated, and it's
Yes.
something that we clearly stayed away from. But 15% of the customers that have joined VanHack are looking for remote-only employees. So
Hmm.
it's something to kind of keep in mind there.
And the good thing, Megan, so this is a discussion that's really easy with American companies because they are aware of how hard it is to do a visa. So the vast majority of American companies just hire remotely. Whereas, for example,
Hmm.
Portuguese market, well, I'm based in Portugal, so we do have a lot of hiring partners that are based in Portugal. And there are two aspects in here. I would say that first is a lot of American companies or non-Portuguese native companies are coming to Portugal and hiring tech talent. So they do see advantages in being based in Portugal, but still, once again,
Mm.
Portugal is a relatively small country, so you have to go abroad to hire. Germany is a hub of, I would say, it's the mainly Berlin will be the tech hub in Europe, as well as Amsterdam in the Netherlands. Yeah, go ahead.
Okay. You're talking about that the companies over there in European market, Portugal and all, they're more inclined towards relocation. Are they more interested in relocation of the candidates or remote workers primarily?
I would say that the vast majority of European companies are more looking for relocation. They
Awesome.
do. So these countries, for example, Portugal has the tech visa. So the vast majority of these countries do have high skilled migrant visas. So the process of a relocation for someone that is hired in Portugal or in Germany or in the Netherlands doesn't matter. It's quite fast. We're looking to, from the moment that they're hired to the moment that they're seated in one of these locations, I would say on average 3 months, which is a very quick process if you think about it, even though some companies do not want. I would say that the majority of the companies would be okay if you start working remotely while
Hmm.
all this process is being dealt, and then they relocate you and you're already familiar with the
Oh,
company and how things work.
okay, that's wonderful. Okay, now that we have established the whole background of the employers and what sort of employers and why do they join VanHack, because of course they know that we have a huge talent in VanHack. They know that we have like huge, from all across the globe. Now I want to understand that how do candidates get connected to the employers, as it's in the next slide. We'll be talking about that they how do they get connected with the employers. Like we are done with their profiles, their dynamic profiles, and how much they demand the skills. How do these candidates get connected, Megan?
Yeah, I'll jump in here. So, the growth team, which is Rodolfo and I's team,
Hmm.
we're quite often showcasing the talent pool, right? We are showing employers the vastness of the experience of the developers that we have on the platform. And so, that's one way that, the companies or employers can actually kind of search.
Mm-hmm.
And then once a role is posted, then it kind of the baton gets passed from Rodolfo and I's team to the recruiting team, where there's a much more hand holding, deeper dive into not only the hard skills that the company is looking for, but also those softer skills or diversity initiatives. Those conversations happen there, where they take the program of what's the profile, but take an extra layer into really understanding what would be a good fit for the organization. So that kind of happens when a job is posted. We're not showcasing candidates ahead of time before we know about a role or things like that. Rather, we are showcasing the entire talent pool.
Oh, Rodolfo?
Yeah, so it's around what Megan just said. So whenever we have a conversation, our focus is to mainly understand the hiring needs of a company and what kind of profile they look, not necessarily exclusively on the technological side, but also the kind of profile of persona or the kind of persona that they want to join their team. And then there is this passover that we do to the recruitment team, where we have it's a very
it's like a step-by-step process. I love how she described it as Megan described it as a baton being transferred to the other team, because that's like happening like step by step, one step done to the next team, that's how it's rolled over. That's really awesome to know that you connect them in this way and then you pass it on to the other. That's on. So my next question is about, what are the 3 biggest mistakes candidates make during this? We really want to dig into that.
Yeah, no worries. I'll take biggest mistakes, and then Rodolfo, you can add on to here if you'd like. But I definitely, we hear a lot of feedback from our customers, right? And engagement, as we get to know them quite often. And some of the things that we've heard in the last year was that the candidate didn't necessarily, wasn't very well prepared on the product, cultures, and values of the organization. So, there's a lot of stuff that can be done online in order to research prior to the interview. But quite often you're being interviewed by the CTO or maybe even the person who came up with the concept for the organization. And to really kind of, have an understanding of whether it's a product company or whether it's a SaaS-based company and what the business objectives are of the organization, I think would be something that would be definitely something that is worth taking the time. It's not just about the skills. People are also trying to find people that are exceptionally passionate about their particular company.
Yeah, and we are in an over-competitive market, right? So we're talking now today to developers that want to move abroad. You guys and girls are competing in an overly competitive market where everyone is highly skilled. So these small details make the whole difference. If you read the about page of the company, if you just try to understand their mission, their values, all of that, and if you bring it to the first interviews, I do believe that this is one of the main aspects that will make you stand out. And also, at least read a little bit also about, let's imagine a company is based in Lisbon, Portugal. So if they're offering relocation, it would be good for the developer that wants to relocate here, or doesn't matter where, just to know a little bit about the country or a little bit about the city. This is also a complaint that we
I completely agree with you over this. Like, as they say, the first impression is the last impression as well. So if you have like studied about their, gone through their website about their mission, value, that puts a striking impression on the employer that, this is something that they have prepared. And this is something that I completely agree with.
Yeah, and using sites like TripAdvisor or even Google to find out the destination, right? Like, so if you can say, I want my kids to go up Grouse Mountain and see snow and play with grizzly bears, I'm using the example of Vancouver, but like that would probably be one of the things, right? You're also going to be able to get the employer to think that, hey, you've envisioned this move. You've envisioned your family moving, right? And there's something to be said about that. There's tons of resources online The same thing about being well versed on product and culture. I know I'm going backwards here a little bit, but depending on the type of company, you can also be reading not only their Glassdoor reviews, because that's just one layer, but if it's a product company, there's Capterra, there's G2. You can actually find out what's good about the product, what's not so good about the product from a consumer perspective.
Yes.
You can add incredible value there, right, to that organization, and also show that you've not just gone and skimmed the surface, but you've gone and you've done a deep dive.
Like deep dive into it. You're not just there to be the like, I did this, I did that, or just about yourself. You tell them that what value. I think what about this? If you show them that you put value in it, that puts a good impression, right? That on the first day. Rodolfo, anything on to add on that?
No, I would just leave the last one for Megan, the last point that she wrote down.
Yeah, we talked a little bit. Then this is a very difficult and obviously a pretty sensitive topic, but I think it's something that is a huge thing to keep in mind, and it's emotional intelligence or the professional courtesies and knowing where that line is. So
yes.
It's really good to thank somebody after an interview. I can tell you, I hire people here at VanHack all the time as well. And having a really nice thank you is great. Having 15 messages in 5 days is not nice on LinkedIn and email. It's too much, right? Yes, wow. It's showing follow up, which is good, but it also puts kind of a bad taste in an employer or a hiring manager's.
Wow, 15. That happens.
It does happen. I mean, and I don't know if this is necessarily happens everywhere, but I can say from my own experience, there's a line that's respectful. Yes. And I think if you know that somebody's going to be making a decision in a week and a half, and you haven't heard from the employer, feel like a little nudge is okay in a week and a half's time, but not nonstop.
Especially. Yeah. When we're talking about CTOs, heads of engineering, not only they're doing the recruitment, but they also need to deal with the product. So have a little bit of sensibility on that, because even though hiring is extremely important for companies, sometimes there is other issues that they need to deal with in the short term, and they cannot reply to you. So just messaging them constantly or emailing them, it's not going to help you in the hiring process.
Yes, over here, now that we have discussed, this was really insightful, and I think this is going to help a lot of candidates who are listening to this, and please jot down everything that you're listening. This is going to help you a lot. Now,
or take a print screen.
Yes, take a screen. Yeah, take a screenshot. Now, next up, we have understood the mistakes they make. Now we want to get some tips and tricks from you both, because we really want to understand, all the candidates want to, because I come across a lot of questions in the community. How do they stand out? There's 250,000 candidates in the VanHack platform. We want to stand out. So tell us tricks and tips about that.
Right off the bat, I would just say that this is going to be a 45 minutes discussion. If you take something from here, is do an incredible video. Just make sure that audio is incredible. Just make sure that you're in an environment where there is not noise around you. Just be very interactive with the camera. Just be the best self that you can be on that video, because the video is one of the standout points of VanHack. So you go to several other platforms on the market, none has videos, only VanHack. And that's it's a key factor. I can say by experience that if you don't have a video, I will repeat, if you don't have a video, you will not be hired. If you eventually have a so-so video, it might be harder for you. Just focus 100% on the video.
Perfect.
Yeah, yes. I'm just gonna add on this as well. Is we talk about first impressions. I know Iz has talked about this a lot of times, but incomplete profiles, is also another thing. When people are looking and searching the talent pool, and you're head to head against, there's two VanHackers, right? One has a video and has done a complete profile, maybe taken some code tests. Has a fairly open target location profile, versus somebody else who has no video, one code test. I can maybe download their resume, but I don't actually have their experiences written out. You're just like shooting yourself in the foot a little bit to get noticed, right?
Yes, that is absolutely right. And everybody who's listening right now, you need to understand, and I'm so glad they mentioned it, the importance of the videos. They're right. There's so many candidates. If you have a video, it's gonna make sure that you stand out. You're gonna be there. So jot that down. Also write that down. Very important. It's very important. Now let's talk about the code test. What's that, and how do they make sure that they are doing great in that?
Yeah, so we use third-party code tests, and those code test scores are exposed to the customer, right? So in their profiles, in the candidate profiles itself, if you are a senior Ruby on Rails developer, I'd really make sure that you have completed the code tests to showcase that you are indeed a senior Ruby on Rails developer. Again, it goes right back to it. You have two candidates, A and B. One has code tests where the employer can sit and look at it and review it versus somebody who doesn't. If you could only pick one person for next steps interview, who are you going to pick?
And it's around the effort that you put to be hired. Like, once again, for me, it would tell me if I was a hiring manager and I see one person that didn't do the code test, or only has one video, or doesn't have a video at all, at the end of the day, I would know for sure that this person is not serious about relocation or being hired. If you just put all your effort, just do as Megan mentioned, make sure, I would say the video must, like, extremely important. There is no way to emphasize it more, only if I scream. Do the code test. It's on the technologies that you master. Just do the code test. Even if you don't score 100%, you can score 90 or 85. But at least it shows that you're not afraid to put yourself on the line and show your code to the hiring managers.
Yeah, and one of the ways the code test is displayed as well, like, I think there's some code tests that are really hard, right? And 70% is an exceptional score. Yeah. It shows out of everybody who's done it, that 70% is 25% higher than everybody who's done it, right? So it shows and gives employers kind of perspective on that. And I don't know the exact rules, but I think that there is an opportunity at some point, if you put it out there at some point, whether it's 6 months down the road, you can take the test again, right? Yeah. And improve your profile as your learning improves.
So yes, keep improving your profile, because that is going to help you a lot to stand out. But what about the open? Because we're having this wonderful discussion, but we're short on time. What about the open target location? What do you exactly would like to propose over here?
Well, people put their target locations, and they're very broad. So it's Canada, US, or Europe. But one of the things that Rodolfo and I talk about quite often is the difference in salary required for Vancouver versus Winnipeg, or Lisbon versus Berlin, or to keep those salaries ranges wide, because of the cost of living is significantly different between Vancouver and Winnipeg. I can tell you that for sure, just because I know it. But when it comes, if you can increase your bands, but also open your eyes to other locations, you're going to have more opportunities.
Nice. That's interesting. That, because we would like to open, so all these things, just I would like to sum it up in a bit, and I had also discussed it with VanHack recruiter Cecilia also, that this is somehow a Tinder for all the people who want to get connected to the employers, and that's the only thing that you have to help yourself in standing out. You have to work and give yourself more time in your profile, in making sure it's complete. So yes, thank you so much. And
it's
the
simple,
last
right?
question, yes,
it's not a lot of time. It's just maximum, it's, let's say, 3 hours of your life that will just summarize, like, your future going to another country and living
building
there
up your life. They're building up their life with this effort they put in. So yeah, that's going to help them. So now, tell us about remote jobs and opportunities, And are they preferred more over relocation-based jobs? Rodolfo.
Well, for Europe, it's around what we've previously discussed. So I would say that there are more relocation opportunities. It's also, there is a correlation between this and the fact that the United States cannot provide a visa. For example, if you're an American company, you're going to hire remotely globally because you cannot relocate. So you're paying huge salaries. So imagine a Portuguese or Spanish or even a German company competing with $100K dollars on yearly salary. It's going to be really hard for them to compete against that. So that's why a lot of European companies do add to the flavor, to the mix, the possibility of a relocation, because relocating, it makes it more appealing than hiring remotely with a low salary.
Perfect. Megan, you would like to add to something to that?
Yeah, in terms of remote, I would say companies are more open to remote than ever before. I think that that's just something that's just the fact, and that's a COVID silver lining for sure. But there's one point here, at least for Canada, and also for the Europe, that I'd like to point is the retention. So so companies, even if they weren't maybe necessarily looking for relocation, if they understand they're going to be able to keep an amazing software engineer for longer periods of time if they relocate them, there's an opportunity, there's definitely that draw. So that's the kind of the hidden thing, and something that we talk about quite often with companies is, the kind of the perks of the visa. And that people aren't looking to take another job when they land. They are really excited about their new life. So yeah, just something to point in.
Thankfulness, commitment, thankfulness, everything that it's around getting someone.
Oh, that's nice. So do these employers that help them relocate and offer them jobs, do they help in the assistance in, offering them the money to relocate, and assistance in anything like that? What about that?
Some do. There's definitely some that pay for things like flights. Some maybe quite often pay for things like the first month's rent on an Airbnb. It's really kind of I know this is a terrible answer, but it depends. Some companies have organized that relocation piece, and others haven't.
Yeah, it's not a one size fits all, but I would say though that the majority cover at least the flight and first weeks of accommodation. But as Megan said, it's not a one size fits all.
It's not okay. That's because that was, I really come across some questions like that. Do they help in the assistance? Do they? But this is really interesting to know.
But we do just one thing. But we VanHack, we help with we do assistance in regards to the relocation process for the VanHacker that was hired. We have a global mobility team that helps you with information about the country on where you're moving to. So that's also some length of help that we do.
Yeah, this is something very important to know, everybody, that VanHack goes a step extra ahead. First, you saw that there's a video presentation, there's this profile that you have to put an effort on, but they also help you get connected to the employers. But at the same time, we have a separate also teams associated with it to help you with the mobility, with the relocation. So that is something that we are really, we honored that we can help you with all. And we have helped a lot of people in that process. And the growth team today has told you all about that. How do they do that? The secret insights into it. How do they basically, help you relocate and help you get connected with the employers and basically help you build a new life. So yes. So thank you so much. Anything you would like to both add, because you guys are doing amazing job, and thank you so much for helping so many people out there. Anything you both would like to add?
You want to go, Megan?
Yeah, I'd just say, good luck. Keep applying to roles. We're going to keep, looking for new employers, bringing them into the platform, and really looking forward to giving a lot more opportunities. That's basically it. Good luck.
Yeah, it's the same. Just good luck. Make sure that you have the video on your profile. Know what you don't know, and if you need any help, Just we have the Premium Academy. We have many other ways for you to improve yourself. But I would just say at this point, just make sure that you have a cool video on the platform, do the code tests, and good luck.
Yeah, just grab a cup of coffee, make the video, make sure the aesthetics, make sure your background is really nice. Just make sure you just do that, and we'll get you, and we'll help. We are here to help you in any problem that you come across, any confusion you have. So yes, thank you so much. It was really awesome to have you both with us today as speakers, and we learned a lot. Even I learned a lot so much today. I'm sure everybody who's watching did take out some notes, and that's going to help them. So good luck, everyone. Good luck with your journey. Thank you so much.
Ciao,
Bye bye.
ciao.
I'm sorry about that. So yes, I just saw that. So yes, that was Rodolfo and Megan, and to thanks to them for that we got to know all about the European market and how what even they see at what the employers look at your profile at. So that was really awesome. So thanks again to Megan and Rodolfo. Also, the issue got fixed of the internet issue with the Murillo session, and it has been fixed. So we'll be joining him. Murillo will be joined by Murillo again, and in 2 minutes it will start. And let's hear all about GitHub now.